Hey friends, Deanna Cat here. So today I need to talk to you guys about something, and it's a little bit of a sensitive subject, but it's an important one, and that is squash sex. You heard me right, squash sex. So if you've ever had the experience where you're trying to grow squash, be it winter squash or a summer squash like zucchini, and it starts to get a little bigger and it's showing signs of promise, but then it gets limp and starts rotting from the flower end, that's probably because your squash didn't get pollinated. So today I want to talk to you about hand pollinating squash. If you're dreaming of big, thick, long zucchini this summer, you might just have to grab life by the blossoms and get in there and help your little friends get some. So hand pollinating is really easy to do. It's something that even though we have plenty of pollinator flowers and plants in our garden, which is something I always promote, is planting for the pollinators. Even though we have lots of bees here in our garden, I still like to help our little squash friends out and help pollinate their flowers manually, which encourages and enables the squash to actually develop into fully sized fruit. If they don't get pollinated, that's when they're going to start to grow and then fall off. So it's something that I usually do on my way out the door in the morning when I'm heading out for work. This is the front yard garden, so it makes it really easy and convenient to do that. And I find that flowers generally are open in the morning. They might open at different times of day though, so you might just need to check it depending on your squash plants. But basically, you're looking for both male and female flowers to be open at the same time. And I will show you up close what those look like, how to be able to tell the difference, and how to actually pollinate them. The other thing to note too is I have a few different squash around here in different areas. You can totally use flowers from a different squash plant to pollinate another one. So over here I have this one's a yellow zucchini, and then I have a green zucchini over here, and they can be used to pollinate. You can even use hard squash to, like butternuts and spaghetti squash and things to pollinate each other as well. When you do that, the seeds might not breed true, so you might not be able to seed save, but that's what's happening in nature anyways, is that cross-pollination when bees are doing it. So not a big deal, and it'll still help you develop your fruit. So let me go ahead and show you how we hand pollinate squash. I use a little paintbrush. I actually use a smaller one usually, but this is what I was able to find this morning, since these are our first squash of the summer, or actually spring. But some people use a Q-tip. Some people actually rip off the flower and use the flower itself. I'd prefer not to do that because I want to leave it there for the bees. So let me show you how we hand pollinate squash to get our big zucchini. Okay, so here's that squash plant. And just a note, no, this isn't disease either. A lot of people have questions about that. This is a natural leaf variegation. Powdery mildew is more raised, usually starts on the bottom of squash leaves, not the top like that. So a lot of melon and squash have natural variegation and color patterns like that in their leaves. Again, powdery mildew would be a little bit less regular and a little bit more raised and puffy. But if you check this out, here is a lady squash blossom. So how you can tell the difference between a male and a female squash blossom is a couple things. A, see the little tiny fruit attached at the base? The female will always have the little bit of fruit. The males will have, on the other hand, I'll show you one on the other plant over there in a moment, or I'll just show you here. So this is a male. The male, on the other hand, just has a straight stem. So there's no little baby fruit. So this is another female, and there's our male. So the other difference is in their insides. So this is the lady that is more curvaceous in the inside, and he has instead a straight thing called an anther that has pollen all over it. So that's an anther, and this is her stigma. And so all we have to do is transfer a little bit of pollen from the anther into the stigma. So quite simple. So I have my little brush here, and I'm just going to go in here and gently collect a little pollen. Look at all that pollen. Can you see that? It's a little blurry. Let's see. There you go. Now, coming on into our lady flower, and I'm just going to deposit it onto her in there. And now she's pollinated. It's really as simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to collect a little bit more from this guy, and usually I'll just take enough, because then what if another female blossom pops up later? So I just leave that flower behind. That's where I was saying some people will just pick this male off and take it and kind of peel back the flower you know, the leaf parts of the flower, sorry, the blossoms, and then stick it in there and rub it around. And you can do that, but I just find that I'd rather leave it there because these will actually open and close multiple times. So if you leave it, while the pollen's going to kind of get a little old with time, it might rebloom for a couple days, and so you can actually use that same flower. So I'm going to come back over here with that pollen I collected. Let's see if I can get it to focus that time. There it is. Nice little bits of pollen. Come back over to our little lady here, onto her stigma, and now she's a happy girl. And then she will continue to grow and it will not rot from the end. So about 99% of the time, if squash start to rot from this end, it's because they didn't get pollinated. So I hope you found that a nice useful tip. And you'll be flush with big, healthy zucchini all summer. It's a beautiful day.